Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Mainstream Monday here on Horror Film Lovers TV. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody. I'm here with
John Ward,
John Ward, my faithful co-host, who's been here for, God, how many episodes have we done? I don't even want to guess.
like 100.
I feel like it's been that long, but it's probably only been like 60. But still, that's a lot, you
Well,
know?
what did we start with? Scream?
We
The Scream
started, well,
movie?
I think we started with Scream, and then we kind of went through all the Kevin Williamson stuff and got up to about 28 episodes, I think, for the first season. And then I think there was 28 for like the next season, and then like the third and like the recent seasons have been shorter just because we've been both been really, really busy with stuff. So it's been harder to kind of we can't do it every week like we used to. We used to do it every, week. But we can't do that now. I would, I don't even know how I did that back then. But I did. And now we're doing I think this will be what, Chucky 1 through was it 8? No, 6, 7, 8. So do like 9 or 10 episodes, something like that, because I know we're gonna do a ranking, you know, at one point, and maybe like a recap of everything. So I don't know if we're gonna merge that into one thing because, but I think we might have like 9 episodes this season,
Okay.
which I think is fair. I don't like my odd numbers, man, but I think I'll
Uh,
survive. I'm weird like that. I'm OCD like that. I'm like, if it's 9, it can be 10.
well, I mean, it could be even if you included the documentary.
Mm. That means one more thing to watch. We
Well,
already
one
got
more.
we already got the movies, then we got the TV show. I guess we did talk, didn't we talk about we did talk about doing the documentary
Yeah,
as part of it.
because the documentary is right when they're starting to film the first
Ah.
season of Chucky. So it's only briefly brought up near the end that they're doing this show. So it would almost be a good segue from Colt into the TV series to watch Life with.
That might actually be good because that's smaller to watch, and then I've got the big watch of watching all 3 seasons of Chucky, which that might take a little bit of time. I mean, I don't know. You can binge them pretty quickly, I think.
I mean, the good thing is today these things are like what, 6 episodes, 8 episodes, where
Hmm.
way back in my day there were like 23,
They
24
still are,
episodes.
like, was it, SVU still does like 24 episodes or whatever, you know? I still watch that, you know? But they do it like weekly, like they always used to do. Nowadays too, everything's like just up and ready for you to binge. But anyway, that's neither here nor there nor anywhere. That's its own thing. We're gonna be talking about Seed of Chucky today. A movie that I was familiar with but never watched. I had watched Bride of Chucky for, what is it, 90s horror films, and that was the first time I watched that with Madeline Deering. And we miss you, Madeline. Um,
This would have been an interesting episode to have her on.
I think she would have loved it. I
I
mean,
mean, it's
I would have asked her had she been alive. I would have asked her because I think she did like this one a lot. She told me. I'd have to re-listen to the review I did with her on Bride of Chucky because I think she said she enjoyed Seed more or something. There's something more fun
well,
about
she can
Seed.
identify with Seed more.
She can identify with Seed more, and she can probably it's just campier and sillier, It is definitely and it's more meta. I thought Bride was meta. Yeah.
Well, these are in I clump these into groups. 1 through 3 are together,
Mm,
and then Bride and Seed are together,
mm-hmm.
and then Curse and Colt are together, and then the TV series is together. So 1, 2, and 3. And they, obviously Child's Play 3 didn't do as well as 2. So they're like years later, okay, well, what can we do? Scream comes out. Okay, now we're gonna make it about movies. So It's a Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein. You got a lot of there's kind of the whole Bonnie and Clyde thing and
Mm.
like natural born killers.
Oh, there was a
There
lot of natural. I think they even referenced natural born killers in that movie.
they might, yeah, because it's they, and so and of course it even has, indie darling, John Ritter in it, the
Mm.
king of indies. And so it's and then when you get the seed and Don Mancini takes over, wow, does it take a left turn? And I use left turn politically. So it is a very left turn movie. And I can understand why a lot of people did not like it. I like Seed. I like Seed and Three. I like the two that people don't like. I like them all. I think it's a
Wait,
perfect
wait,
series.
Seed and what?
Seed and Child's Play 3.
Child's Play 3. Okay, I thought you said two for a second. I was like, wait, huh?
No, two's
Um,
the one that everything is
I
like
kn-
based off of.
and
So
everybody loves to. I did not. It was my least favorite so far. So, I
yeah,
mean,
I was surprised when saw an interview with Don Mancini and he said that he did a like a one of those things where you could put what is the best and stuff and so
a poll.
people a poll, thank you. Everybody said part two. So that's what he based the feeling and style and everything for the TV series was on Child's Play 2.
I mean, I don't mind that. Like, I think it'll be different because it'll be more modern anyway. So I'm okay with it. But I'm just part two just wasn't my cup of tea. So far, so far, and this may change, by the end of everything, because that we haven't gotten to Curse or Cult. But so far, number one has been my favorite. Bride and Seed are next. And three, two, and three and two are under that. So I don't know. A lot of people don't like the first of many of the movies. Like a lot of people don't like the first Friday the 13th or the first Nightmare on Elm Street. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I those are the ones I love, and everything.
I, I'm
So
I'm a little on that boat.
you're a little on the
Yeah,
other
if
boat.
yeah, if somebody said, let's watch a Friday the 13th, I would probably avoid the first one. If they said let's watch a Nightmare, I'd probably avoid the first one. So it's the origin kind of combining, it does like for Nightmare, I would always watch part four. If it was Friday, I could watch, six or seven. So with Chucky, I like the first one a lot, but it's still very raw for what
Mm-hmm.
they want to do. And so I think that they started to get that better with two, and then they kind of really got it together with three and kind of perfected it with Bride, which then they could just
Right.
kind of move into other movies in the TV show. And me saying that Don Mancini definitely took a left is because this is very much like a LGBTQ movie.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't like that. So it's because you have the first three films that are straight horror. Chucky does the little one-liners, but it's still straight horror. And then Bride is Scream. It's a satire. It's spoofing.
I
It's
mean, he still had
meta.
the gay
It's
character in Bride. I mean, he wasn't overly gay,
well,
like,
there
or anything like that, but
the
there was
gay friend,
the gay
type
friend,
of
yeah.
yeah.
And
But this really Seed really because now that Don Mancini is
I-
full control.
yeah. And you can say that maybe Child's Play 3 had homosexual undertones to it too, that we guess we didn't really talk about that, but like a lot of the military stuff, boys, all that stuff and like I don't know, it just kind of to me it kind of had a little bit maybe. He wasn't too much into that because I think that would have scared the studio off a little bit.
Well, that's the thing with like the TV series. I don't know. There's two guys and a girl that are the leads. The two guys are gay, and I guess they're gay in real life.
Mhm.
And they're supposed to be teenagers, like they're in high school, and they have a relationship and they hook up and everything. So I don't know. like I just don't know how people took that. I was even a little kind of like, whoa, wait a minute type of thing that, you're showing kids that are underaged. You see them do, kind of like what was the show with Sydney Sweeney? Was it
Oh,
Euphoria?
Euphoria.
Yeah, where I commented that I liked it on Facebook, and then somebody said, well, they can't watch it because they're they don't like the kids being underaged.
I
And
think
I
I
said,
might have told you that
well,
too. I don't know because I felt very uncomfortable knowing that information as well.
yeah, like they're all adults
I
in
know they're
it.
all playing.
Yeah,
They're all
the
adults.
actual, but the characters are under 18.
Here's
And
here's
so
my thing. Here's my thing. So, I'm gonna use an example of something really disgusting to me, and that is Victor Salva,
yeah,
who directed a movie where, and then behind the scenes, we know some really effed up things happened, and he went to jail. I don't know how much I could say on YouTube without getting in trouble, or whatever, like as far as like being censored and stuff for language. But some really fucked up shit happened, and everything. Um, with a little underage boy
yeah, it was Clown
and
House. The movie was
Clown
Clown
House,
House.
yeah. Then years later, he got out, and the first movie he did, well, one of the first things he ended up doing was Powder, right? Which was
But
about
apparently
a.
you like Powder because you gave it a
I
thumbs
did
up right
not mean
there.
to do that. I don't know why that thing.
Well, well, what came after Clown House was, I believe, was Nature of the Beast, and that was two guys, Lance Hendrickson and I think Jeff Fahey. After that, because Powder, I remember Powder playing in the theater, and I thought it was weird as hell that Jeff Goldblum was all obsessed with this adult that looked like a baby and bald head, really white, and it's just like this is creepy. But if you look at all of the Jeepers Creepers stuff, Victor Salva is the creeper. It's very obvious
Mhm.
that he's the creeper, which is why all the boys, in his three films, always have their shirts off and
Well,
stuff.
right. And the worst part is like take for instance the first Jeepers Creepers. It's not bad because the characters are over the age of 18. And if I don't know if Justin Long got his shirt taken off or whatever in that movie or not, but in part two, it's what is it? It is high school kids,
Yeah,
right?
it's the
They're
school
going,
bus. Yeah.
yeah, school bus full of high school kids who break down and then they take their shirts off and then they're like wrestling with each other or something like things like that. I'm
Yeah,
just like,
they're sunbathing and
yeah, and I'm just like,
and Victor Salva never apologized. And I know Francis Ford Coppola got a whole bunch of crap.
well,
Because
I
he
mean, he
at least
supported
the
the
first
guy
two.
and
Yeah,
said
and Victor
really
Salva
nice things
never
and
apologized for what happened.
yeah.
So
And then
it's
he went off and he did part three, and there was another act character that was underage, like it was like a girl or something, and it still made me feel uncomfortable. Like you can't have a man who is busted for that stuff working with, like for me, it shouldn't be working with actors, even if they're above the age of 18 to playing kids. It's not appropriate. It's not okay. And that's why I just don't like watching Euphoria because it's creepy to me that these people, whoever writing it, are thinking about kids taking their clothes off. They're writing about kids taking their clothes off. To me, this is really creepy. And
oh
so
yeah, yeah.
I,
I told a friend of mine who has three kids. I'm like, if Euphoria is how teenagers are these days, I am so glad I didn't have kids.
yeah,
So it's because that show is an utter nightmare, and I've watched every episode of it, and if I can't believe now with especially with Sydney Sweeney being so big that they would ever do another season. If they did, she definitely wouldn't be naked because she's
wasn't
naked.
Zendaya in it too or something? Like somebody
There
big
were
like
two
that?
girls who never showed nudity. Zendaya was one, and Judd Apatow's daughter, Maud.
Right, right, Ma.
They
But
never
what
showed nudity at
I
all. The
understand, but
others
no, but
did.
I'm just saying is Zendaya's too big now too. Like
Yeah.
There obviously, if they did another season, it'd be like completely brand new
Well,
cast, it feels like.
so discussing Jeepers Creepers, Euphoria and all that type of stuff. Is it better with dolls? To kind of go back to
I
Chucky, is
mean,
it better to have a trans doll that and
well, you don't, the only doll you actually see naked in the movie or whatever is fucking Tiffany, who just flashes her
well,
tits,
you
which is,
see Glenn or Glinda's bottom part, and there's nothing there,
that's
and they're
true.
both amazed. But that's, I think, also making a joke off of like G.I. Joe.
Well, G.I. Joe's like,
Yeah,
what's it,
who has nothing.
and anatomically incorrect or whatever, incorrect or whatever.
Yeah, well,
Um,
Chucky is, and obviously Tiffany is
yep.
too.
Well,
So
and he
it's
even makes a note about that in The Bride of Chucky, as he says that he is equipped, and right? They talk about that. Um, do I think I don't know. It's a weird thing. There are people who have doll fetishes and stuff, so this would be like something that they'd be like, "Ooh, let me check this out," you know. Me personally, I mean, it's a doll. It's not a human being, you know. Now, if it were like a life-size doll or something like, sex doll or something like that, and they made it like it gets weird, and I don't feel comfortable with a lot of that stuff. You know,
well, there is that protect the dolls, and Glinda Glinda is a doll.
what do you mean protect the dolls? Is that a thing?
Yeah,
What is that?
trans people, trans children.
Oh.
Pascal has a shirt that says protect the dolls, and that's what it means. It is protect trans children.
Oh, I didn't. I wasn't sorry. I'm not that into that culture or whatever. I wasn't aware. But
Yeah,
that is
but
interesting.
it's a little, I guess it wouldn't be Glenn or Glinda. I guess in this case it'd be Glenn and Glinda, as a doll. And then of course there's that phrase now that goes out there. N None of this really bothers me at all because but I do think that it is definitely a massive turn for the series because here on out, this plays throughout the whole thing. And it isn't just having the gay friend. It is trans. It's all of this stuff. I think Curse isn't as much. Cult, little bit, but then the series totally is. So, but it's interesting because I did feel in the first season of Chucky that it was kind of like, whoa, wait a minute. These are supposed to be, I don't even know if they're supposed to be seniors or what, but they are definitely high school students that are hooking up, together.
Yeah,
And
well, yeah,
I know they do that in like Fast Times at Ridgemont High. They're meant to be high
yeah,
school
and
students
obviously
that,
they're of age.
yeah.
Um, I think what's her name? Jennifer Jason Leigh was like 20 something.
Well, the characters were like
Well, I know. I
16.
mean, but I'm saying like yeah, I mean, and it's another. Okay, so my dad and I are going to LA this was it this November, and what is it one of the things what he wants to do is go to the Fast Times at Ridgemont High School and take a picture outside of it or whatever and stuff, and I'm like, cool. I didn't even think he'd want to do that, but that's awesome. I would love to see that high school. I need to rewatch that movie. It's a classic. But it
That and
is,
The Breakfast Club are the two quintessential 80s
but
movies, I believe.
see, that movie doesn't make me feel that bad because the writer of it was 18 years old when he wrote it. He actually wrote it about his high school experience at the time. So maybe I'm okay with that. That's maybe
Well, he
that
went undercover.
he went
He was
under.
actually, I think he was like 20.
I don't think so. I think
Yeah, he worked
no,
for
he was.
Rolling Stone
Yes, but he
magazine.
was 6'15" when he got into Rolling Stone magazine. If you watch Almost Famous, you find all this information out there. All this is true. He was 15 when he actually wrote his first article because he graduated early and everything from high school. And so he graduated early
Cameron
with
Crowe
Cameron Crowe.
just came to my mind.
Yeah, Cameron Crowe graduated early, went to went asked to do the Rolling Stone. It didn't I don't think it happened exactly like Almost Famous where he comes in and they go, "Oh my God, you're only 15 years." I think they knew, from the very beginning, but they hired him to go undercover, to do to do rock tours and stuff like that because, that people would trust somebody younger than they would a, older person following the bands around. You know what I mean? Like they feel like they could influence him more and stuff. And he wrote for them, and then he ended up going into he ended up doing Fast Times at Ridgemont High because Rolling Stone paid him to go in there and write an article about what it's like being a teenager today, you know. And he had already been out of it for like 3 years, out of high school. So he went to another high school and he was 18, or so. And so I'm okay with that. So now that I know like he was, but he was writing about the experiences that kids were having, and that doesn't creep me out as much, than somebody who's in their 40s thinking about teenagers. Like it, I don't think I could. I mean, I did write a teenage thing, but it was PG-13, like my script that I wrote that's more teenage stuff. Like I didn't have anybody hooking up. It was the most PG-13 movie you could write, because I'm just grossed out by that, you know, like,
It doesn't
personally.
bother me as much as I guess it bothers you. So
Mm.
I think it matters. I mean, Phoebe Cates is supposed to be like what, like 16 or 17 in Fast Times, and she shows her boobs. Jennifer Jason Leigh has sex twice in it, and she's naked. So it doesn't bother me as much. I think I have more problem with grooming than I do anything else. Like Seed, I don't think is grooming. I think that it's a gay man who um, created this and is writing this,
Mhm.
and with having a gay character in Bride was just kind of moving forward with what he would like to see. And so when, Chucky and Tiffany have, when they have a kid, you have no idea at the end of Bride. I mean, it's just
Mhm.
like a crazy kid that kills the cop. But then when you see Glenn and Glinda here, and it's, well, are you a boy? Are you a girl? Well, why can't I be both? And sometimes he has like guy clothes, sometimes he's got the girl
Yeah, even
clothes.
Tiffany says sometimes people are both, and I think Chucky was not happy with that choice.
No,
And
but he
yeah,
does bring it up in the series, is that he is talking to one of the leads, and he goes, "Hey, my kid is trans." So, and the kid's like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, I got a trans kid." So it's and it's weird stuff. There is retconning. I have to watch it again, but there is some
we
retconning
will
with
be
the
watching it
kids.
again.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So yeah, with Chucky's kids, there's some weird stuff that
Mhm.
happens with the kids. So
I,
it's I like this film. I don't have a problem with the whole Glenn and Glinda thing. I just think some
I like the
people
Glen. I
did.
thought I especially back then I could see this being a problem because somebody I read somewhere that said that this movie was like basically ahead of its time. Because if it came out today, people wouldn't even bat an eye at most of this stuff. They
Oh, no, no, no. I completely disagree. I don't think that this was ahead of its time at all. We should be happy that this was made at the time that it was. If it was made today, this thing would bomb beyond belief. People would probably protest it.
It
It, it
still
it's
sort of it didn't bomb, but it did not do nearly as well. I don't
because
think
people
most.
didn't like it as
Yeah,
they didn't want the whole trans, my opinion, but they, from what I gathered from what I've read and all that, is that they just didn't like the trans thing. They didn't like, and it's too comic-y, it's too,
meta.
yeah, I mean, there's even a reference to Meg Tilly in this, if you caught it, who so when
Talked about her sister, something like that.
yeah, Tiffany says something like I'm gonna go crazy, and then he goes, yeah, kind of like your sister, meaning I'm assuming that's a joke about Meg Tilly.
Um,
Since Tiffany doesn't have a sister,
Yeah, it was something about yeah, it was something about
they're in the limo
yeah, I
when
remember. I
the
remember
yeah
in the limo they were drinking the wine or whatever and hanging out and talking
yeah
and
they got the
the
champagne
champagne,
going,
yeah.
and so
And they said
I also
something.
like all the movie stuff. I think is great. That's probably why I like it so much is all the film
Oh yeah, I
stuff.
love the film stuff.
You know, Tony Gardner is Tony Gardner, which is great.
They still do the one thing that just bothers me sometimes when they shoot films. Uh, in real films, movies are usually shot with like cuts, and things like that. Like, they wouldn't shoot this and have a cut and have a cut that's like, you know what I mean? Like it looked like it was different cuts, and then all of a
They
sudden it was supposed to
yeah,
be the
they do
full.
that all the time.
I know
I
it
mean, it's
bothers me. It's like, dude, but it's
I
supposed to throw you off and not think it's a movie. That's
well, I think I now look at it as it's you're watching the movie, the fake movie,
hmm
all, that's been edited and there's sound effects and all that stuff. You're watching it made, finished all the way up to the point where the director yells cut. So it's already pieced together. It's already finished up to that point. So that's kind of how I look at it because you look at even stuff like Blowout, the De Palma movie, and with Travolta, and he's doing sound for a film that is already completed.
hmm
And I'm no, that doesn't seem right. And then you have Miss Doubtfire, where Robin Williams is doing the voice of an animated character in front of him. Never happens unless you're dubbing like an Asian movie in
So
English.
usually the voice stuff comes first, and then
Yeah, so it can match the voice.
they can match. Yeah, they can match. That's what even South Park always said that what they do is they do the script, they come up with the idea for the show, they write the script, they get all the people involved, then they record the audio, and everything, and then they have some animator come in and do it, and they do this in like what it used to be a week. Now I guess they're getting too old or something because now it's 2 weeks that they get everything out. But and
Yeah, their seasons are now shorter. Yeah.
this season has not been that great. I honestly think it's because of all the political stuff that's going on, and they don't want to do that. Like that's not what they want to be doing is the political stuff. They want to, they even said somewhere that they didn't want to do Trump again. They really didn't. They didn't want to parody him because they already did that, and they're done, like there's only, and of course that's what they're doing, and it's because like that's all in the news right now. So, it's ridiculous, but I don't know. I'm trying to find that quote about the
Yeah,
mother's
I
sister.
think even these days with technology, I think when the actor does the voice, they can sync it up pretty easy to have it animated. So I don't think that it's done like it used to be. But with it's this film, I think, because I'm curious of what you think about Curse, because Curse
Yeah,
goes back to the first movie. It's straight horror.
right.
And I don't think there's as many one-liners. I don't think there's because people didn't like Seed, so it's like, well, crap, if we're going to do another one, we need to go back because people loved Bride, but they didn't seem to like Seed, and I got the numbers here when we're ready for that,
Yeah.
so to tell the difference, but it's. I mean, it's you like you have John. I mean, so you have John Ritter, in Bride, like I mentioned, like the king of indie films, and then you have kind of in his place is John Waters.
Yeah, they went from John Ritter to John Waters.
Yeah, and that kind of tells you where it's at and
Well,
I love John Waters and I
it,
love John Ritter. So,
it's kind of like that, but it's also what I heard, and I kind of guessed this actually when I saw that John Waters, because it popped up in the credits, John Waters, and I was like, John Waters is in this movie, right? And then I was like, and it didn't seem like it was a cameo, so it wasn't a cameo, it was an
mm.
actual part. And so my idea was that John Waters must have been must have been a fan of Chucky, and he was. He was a fan of the Child's Play movies, and he asked the director God, why am I blanking on his name?
Well, Don Mancini.
Don Mancini. He asked Don Mancini, can I be a part of one of your movies? And Don wrote him a role like specifically for him.
Well, it's perfect that he's the paparazzi.
Yeah.
That is every once in a while you get one of those actors that is, that is perfect for that role. And John Waters is perfect as the sleazy, especially with his little pencil mustache, paparazzi guy.
My mom always confused him with Steve Buscemi.
Oh, I could see that.
I could
I
see it
could,
too.
yeah.
Like after
Yeah.
I was like, no, mom, they're separate. They're very separate.
I saw John Waters in Reservoir Dogs. He was excellent.
I saw Steve Buscemi in Pink
He
Flamingos.
goes, he was
Excellent.
excellent.
Yeah. Now, so my mom, obviously didn't watch Pink Flamingos, but she did watch Serial Mom and like that one. And then I don't think she watched She might have watched Hairspray. She might have liked that one. Um,
Waters, he went into a video store and saw that his stuff was in like the kids section. So like Hairspray and all this was in like the family or kids section. And he went, I've now become like a family filmmaker, which is then why he did Cecil B. Demented, is he
yeah,
he wanted to go back to what he was.
but it
And
still wasn't like that.
oh
I
well,
don't think he was
well, I
ever
mean,
gonna get
nobody was
that back
eating
that way.
poop,
Right. And well,
you know,
because the beginning of his career, that's what it was, and stuff. Pink Flamingos or all the
female trouble and all
Female
that stuff.
Trouble
Yeah.
and all that stuff were just very like down and dirty, made in Baltimore, trash, sleaze, crap on purpose. Like that's just what he liked to make. And then I mean you can call him a sellout or whatever, but he started making Hollywood movies and I love it. One of my favorite things is he's in the at the end, I think. I don't think he's in it before then, but he's in the Lonely Island had a thing called like Do the Creep, and it was this very like creepy thing and at the end John Waters looks over and goes, "Don't forget to smile." And it's just
I don't know that. Is that like a
yeah,
show, a
it's
TV
no,
show, or
it's a music video for like one of her songs. It was like, it's got like Rihanna in it, Rhiannon or Rihanna, something like that.
yeah, Rihanna,
Somebody big, in that. Maybe it's not her, but it's
the
somebody like
star of the Smurfs?
yeah, somebody like that. And she's like going, when she's doing it, she's doing the creep. You do the creep. And it's like you put your hands out T-Rexing while you're flexing, it's stupid shit. But it's really
Absolutely no idea.
I know. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. It's very funny though. I thought it was hilarious. And just the
If you
fact that
want.
they have John Waters at the end, it pop up is just perfect. But that was the thing. Like I know the difference between John Waters and Steve, like I can tell just them apart, but like I could understand other people might mistaken them for each other, and everything.
Yeah, yeah. And he's just I gotta say, I find Jennifer Tilly in this to be absolutely gorgeous. I like women that are more simple. There's barely any makeup on her. The clothes that she wears are, she doesn't look like Lady Gaga, basically. And
Uh-uh.
in and when Lady Gaga is in like A Star is Born, she looks gorgeous until she gets all Lady Gaga at the end of the movie. But it's just I think Jennifer Tilly is just absolutely gorgeous in this film. And I love that he, of course, starting with Bride, that Jennifer Tilly is a huge part of this,
Mm-hmm.
and her sister does get involved at some point, and it's amazing of how many people play double roles, or it's just Jennifer Tilly is Jennifer Tilly, but then she's also Tiffany, but then Tiffany is Jennifer Tilly, but then Jennifer Tilly is also Tiffany, but then it's like she's playing like three different characters at once, but they're all Jennifer Tilly.
Well, and it's kind of it's another thing that I didn't really think about but until like after, but the like in real life in making movies, the actor who's doing a voice does not need to be there for the set, right? They're not hanging out, sitting down on a, on a in a chair, wait, because they have nothing to do. They're not saying their lines off screen. Somebody else is probably saying them off screen while they do it, right? Or whatever. Because they don't need the person till they do the voiceover, right? And so Jennifer Tilly, when you first meet her in the movie, she's playing herself. She's sitting down, and in the cast chair, you know. And I now that I'm like thinking about it, I'm just like, that's not how. Now it's a movie, so they're gonna do whatever, and that's how they're gonna introduce the character, because that'd be boring to introduce her doing. Well, actually, it wouldn't, with showing how they do the voiceover stuff, Would have been cool if you saw her with Brad Dourif, like having a chat. It would almost feel like a Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Well, that is something that's off is when they kill the Santa Claus guy, the actor. It wouldn't be Chucky's voice. Yeah, it
Right,
wouldn't be Tiffany's voice. Because Tiffany, yeah, she's off in that area and she's eating like a Snickers bar or something because she's always hiding the junk food. And I like that she can make fun of herself as Tiffany is pulling Jennifer's body and she goes, God, she's fat, and just pulling her along. So it's nice to see that she can have a sense of humor with it. But yeah, it wouldn't. I guess you have to do the Chucky voice, the Tiffany voice,
hmm
because in the documentary that Life with Chucky is Brad Dourif talked about up until Bride, he was in the sound booth by himself,
right, yeah,
and that once Bride hit, he could have Jennifer Tilly come in, and then they could play off of one another.
right.
And he said it was a lot more enjoyable.
I would
So
imagine.
yeah, so that's, you know, Jennifer Tilly had a lot to do, with making these films, and she's through the entire, from Bride on.
I mean,
So
she's also been very, very cool about it, like, you know, because like I think when she first came on, I bet she was like a fan of the Chucky movies and kind of wanted to be involved, And then she sort of became more and more involved, and everything. And people want to see her, They kind of like expect her to be in the movies. They will, I think in Cult she comes back if I'm correct.
yeah, I don't want to ruin
Yeah,
anything, but
no,
yeah,
I've
yeah,
seen it, but it's been
yeah.
years. But I do
Okay.
remember, like, I think like her coming back and everything and helping.
I Not to say really anything about the ending of Colt, but I do remember watching it and going, "Oh fuck, really? Is this how they're going to end it? Really?" And I knew that the TV show was being made, but once it's explained in season one, oh, now it makes perfect sense now. Now
Right.
the ending of Colt
Of
totally
course.
makes sense. But at the time, it was just like, "Oh fuck, really? Really?"
Don't ever
But
underestimate Mr. Mancini here.
well, yeah, yeah, and he obviously, loves the character and making all this, and she, Jennifer Tilly is out there being interviewed with Chucky on her lap or with Tiffany on her lap, and it's so she's, I would say, just as probably as much part of this as Don Mancini is these days, and they definitely don't lack in blood, that's for sure, because this is you probably saw the same version that I did, the unrated one. I
I
think it's
don't know. I saw it on Peacock, so I have no idea.
Oh, okay. Because one of the scenes I know that's extended is Redman's death, is his intestines. I think all you hear in the theatrical version is just like his intestines falling out. It
I
may
think
cut to
later,
them already on the floor,
yeah, I see all that part. I
but
saw
it
that was.
isn't, you're not seeing them drop
Oh,
out.
no, no, no. No. You hear it, but you don't see it. No.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
I
thought you,
I no,
don't you own
I
it?
don't know. I don't own any of these movies,
I thought you owned like the box set or something.
No. That was OGP, remember?
Oh, does he own that? Okay. Yeah, because I have one more on this. I got Curse. And then I have to go to, because now I think Colt is in, I think that's one that OGP has that has 7 movies in it. So,
Yeah.
but this has 6. And it's right when Curse came out, as you bought
I
this.
I
on the
just
day that Curse was released.
I just never bought it, and I don't just because honestly, Chucky was not my favorite originally.
True.
I know, I but it's so funny because I have all the I have hats, I have
Shirt. Yeah.
shirt. I have a lot of, I got my nephew into Chucky. He's never saw the movies yet because he's only 2. We're not we're not doing that to him, Dear Lord, he's got a very impressionable mind,
Don't
we
want
do
him
not.
looking like that.
Yeah, I don't want to wake up and him just staring at me and like that, like, oh my
You
God.
get up to go to the bathroom at 3 in the morning and he's standing like that right next to your bed.
Yep, exactly. I don't want that. And because he watched it in a movie and it's like made him go, "Oh, this would be fun." No, I don't want that. But me personally, I love Jason. Jason was my homie, and I like Freddy a little bit. I'm not a huge Freddy fan. I've seen all the Freddy movies, and I've seen all the Jason movies. I've seen all the Final Des well, did all the Final Destination. Anyway, not we haven't reviewed the new one yet.
No,
One.
we've missed out on some new stuff. I mean,
Yeah, I guess we could do that of
we were gonna
kind
do
of catch up.
Wolfman and
Oh
some of that other
God,
stuff.
no. Please, let's not let us do Wolfman. Um, I hated that movie to death. I don't want to watch it ever again. Um, but but yeah, I like I don't know. I'm a big fan of those. Chucky just always seemed like such a silly thing to me, like because you could just literally kick the dude, just like we've talked about and stuff. He might try to draw a knife at me, but like you literally can throw the guy into a fire and you you know,
There is a leverage issue. Well, like at the very end of this, when the arm, Chucky's arm is in the box,
yeah.
and Glenn is the one who pulls the top off, and the arm jumps up and like grabs on the neck. How could the arm would never do that? Let's just say that these arms can move and shit in real life. How is it jumping out of the box onto somebody's neck?
How does it
It,
even know you're there because it doesn't have eyes?
right. So it's
Like it.
anything with a doll, you can just
But
throw it.
see,
The leverage issue is a major problem.
the first one made sense because when they had we kind of destroyed the doll and doll was all over the place, right? He was still using his eyes to see where everything was. So if he was attacking you, it's because he could see you at that time. Otherwise, it was just bumping into stuff and everything. His body was bumping into stuff. And it made sense. Like all that made sense. But when it has stuff like that, that's just the Carrie moment. That's the
Yeah.
Carrie grave moment. That's the Friday the 13th Jason grabs you moment, just something at the end to shock you. It did that. It did I there were some scenes that were just a little bit too over the top for me that I just was like, okay, like they cut the guy's head off. His head goes flying in the air and it looked like I was like, was this supposed to be PG-13? And I found out it wasn't because it looked like it was coming at the camera like a 3D thing. Do you remember that where the guy's head gets
Well,
chopped off?
yeah, that's Tony Gardner. Yeah.
Yeah, and his head gets flown in the air, you
No,
know.
no, it was never 3D. I think it's just meant to be funny. Meant to be a little comic booky,
I didn't
these
like
two
that. Like
dolls have enough strength to pull the wire and the head flips. And I think the joke is that it's Tony Gardner is killing himself.
I guess.
That did none of that stuff really bothers me at all. I like that they do refer back to Bride, that the guy at the beginning who has the sideshow says that he found him in America in a graveyard.
Hmm. And
And so I
he
like,
said something like he was trying to kill me, and then the guy was like,
yeah,
"I'm just trying to give you a hug."
yeah.
And it was funny because he probably was, and the guy probably thought, or the guy's trying to make it more sinister sounding for the,
Well,
um,
that was, well, see, some of that even doesn't make a lot of sense. It's if it's a competition, which it says, in the little subtitle down there, it says that it's a competition. So I don't think that you would actually have up the sign that's attached to the building that says what their act is. It would be
right.
more like a flag or something that you could rope up and then take down, and then you put up the next one. So I get what they're doing, and it's none of that really bothers me just because, well, one, it's killer dolls, but it's so over the top, like you said, and very comic booky that
I mean, I
you know,
don't.
I mean, Chucky hits through the door with an axe and he does the Jack Nicholson shot. And he goes, I
Uh,
have absolutely no idea what to say.
which was funny because I was waiting for here's Chucky, and that's the joke. Is like I'm waiting for it, and he's like, I don't know what to say right now. And I'm
No
like,
idea, but fuck it.
yeah. I was like, all right, good. Thank you for giving me that because, obviously they don't want to do the same, they don't want everybody to know what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta keep everybody on their toes. Um, the Red Man thing didn't make any sense to me because he's actually not a director at all. So like, once again, I think it was just a fan of the movies and he's a celebrity, so let's make him, But I'm like, I looked him up. He's only directed his music videos, you know. So like, why can't they get another rapper that's actually directed stuff to be in it?
Well, is maybe the Virgin Mary movie is his first film in that world.
No, no, because he says that he's the director. He's a director, and he goes, "Oh, somebody says he's a rapper, on the other end." And she's like, "Well, he's a rapper, but he's also a director too."
But he is directing Virgin Mary, so
Yeah,
maybe that's his first film.
nobody. I don't think so. I don't.
Because Jennifer Tilly doesn't go, "Oh, I saw your movie, blah blah blah. I thought it was great. I would love to be the Virgin Mary."
Yeah, that's true. She never said, but so there's never any hint whether or not he's a famous director or if he's a, whatever. This is his first film. Um, the Julia Roberts thing was a little weird. Um,
Well, look at the time period that this was made in too. So, when Julia Roberts was all the rage,
was
you
she
know,
still in 2003?
she was probably still doing stuff because remember, what was it? The Player? That was a big deal with Julia Roberts.
But that
That
was
she was,
92.
I think that she was big for a while. I
I
mean,
don't, I
or
don't,
it's just the joke that it's Julia Roberts, that
right.
it's, and
And I wonder if like there was something more that we didn't really know for real, like the fact that Jennifer Tilly has lost out roles to Julia Roberts. So this is like maybe Jennifer told Don Mancini that once, and Don was like, that would be funny to put in the movie is like, that she lost roles out to Julia Roberts. I don't know.
it's very possible because I agree with Jennifer Tilly talking about Aaron Brockovich. Because in the movie, Julia Roberts, she has to get some report, and the guy goes, "Well, how are you going to get the report?" And she looks at her boobs and goes, "They're called breasts." And I guess that's, she's going to seduce the guy to getting the folder. Julia Roberts doesn't have boobs.
Yeah.
Jennifer Tilly does.
Jennifer Tilly would have been a great role in that, but
Yeah, so I
um
agree with her. She's like, well, yeah, I didn't need, I wouldn't even need the push-up bra, which is true. So yeah, who knows? Maybe she did lose out to some. I would not doubt that a lot of this is Don Mancini. This is, Jennifer Tilly. This is their experiences. And like you said, with Redman, maybe he was out looking for a director, and Redman's like, hey, I love Chucky. Can I be in the
I
movie?
got I got the response for that actually.
Okay.
Quentin Tarantino was originally offered the role that Redman later played, as the role was originally written for him in mind. Makes more sense now. I think that would have been I could see him doing it his way, or whatever. I don't I actually see this funny here. I think it would have been hilarious. Like given Redman's lines and everything, like when he's in the casting couch with Jennifer Tilly, and Jennifer Tilly is the one instigating everything, and then she stops for a second and thinks, "What am I doing? What are people gonna think?" I can see Tarantino looking over at her and going, well, who cares what they'll think? You're just with me, right?
Well, and I think I don't know if you feel the same way. I think that was all fake.
What do you mean?
when Jennifer Tilly is just like, she's making out with Redman, then goes, I can't do this. It's fake. It's just, I can't do this. This is, how can I do this? And then Redman's like, well, of course you can. You want the part, right?
He's like, I
Oh,
said, like what
okay.
the God spoke to me and all that stuff. Like,
Yeah,
see,
because it's
now that I'm thinking
later.
about it, I'm like, this would have been a Tarantino thing. Like, this does feel like this would have been. Like if he had done it, or whatever, which I don't know why. Well, it's 2003. He was probably like knee deep in Kill Bill at that time, so he probably couldn't, couldn't do it, or maybe he just didn't want to make fun of himself like that. Didn't want people thinking that he actually was like that. And maybe it was better that a person who wasn't a director was playing a person who was a director because even though this is fake, right? People are going to make assumptions and everything and say, oh, that's probably how Tarantino really is in real life. Even though it's an actor playing a character, they're going to say that and they're going to make up rumors and they're going to say things and say, he did this on, Reservoir Dogs. Well, probably not Reservoir Dogs because there's no girls in Reservoir Dogs at all. Pulp Fiction or something, and that's how he behaved in any of his movies, which all he probably did was ask for some feet shots. That's it.
Oh
You know,
God.
you know, hey, I just
I
want to audition you. Just take off your shoes. That's it.
I I actually I don't know if I would have liked Tarantino being in this. Um, because it's I like the idea that it's like the black rapper who's directing a movie about the Virgin Mary, which I think is funny. I like that Jennifer Tilly calls him Mr. Man and then calls him Red. Can I call you Red? And he goes, and then because it is just Red Man,
Yeah.
and but you wouldn't have gotten that stuff with Tarantino, because I don't think that Q, maybe, can I call you Q? Because
No,
I know
he wouldn't
in
have done that. It
Girl
would have been a
Sick,
completely different writing.
yeah, because Girl Six, the Spike Lee movie, Tarantino's in that as QT,
Yeah.
and it's
She
very
might have said
brief.
something. She might have said something like that. Can I call you?
Yeah, so I like that. I like that she's like, I'm pregnant, and he just kind of ignores the entire thing, and then we find out that he's got the vasectomy, and
Yeah.
he's just like, no, I'm not stupid. Like when I got here to Hollywood, I got snipped. So I like all that. I like all that. So yeah, who knows why he did it? Maybe he is a fan or something. But I like when he pulls up. He's in the big car that you would see most rappers have, and he's playing the rap music. And I like him in this. I think he does a good job. And yeah, there's really nobody in this that I think does a bad
No.
job. I think
Everybody was
everybody.
good. I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
Billy Boyd did a great job playing Glenn and Glinda. I thought the people in the beginning, they actually one of the first, and I don't know, only maybe because I haven't seen I don't remember Curse or Cult, and I've never seen the TV show really, so I don't know how much nudity is in any of them. But like, this is the only one I've seen that actually had some titties in them. Uh, like there was none
are
in
you
the
talking about
first.
Tiffany?
No, I'm talking about. Remember, there's a shower scene with the chick in the beginning of the movie.
Oh, with the mom.
The mom,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and she does it. She's
Oh yeah, yeah.
naked.
When she's on the floor, yeah,
Well,
the
even
shower
before then,
curtain is
right
on
when
like
she was getting
half.
attacked,
Yeah,
you can see it a little bit. So,
I don't know because Curse is in a maybe in Curse because it's in like an old Victorian house, so maybe somebody's taking a shower. I don't think there's any nudity in Colt, not at all. And then the TV show, I don't think there is any at all because
well, that
that's
was because that was for
Sci-Fi Channel and
sci-fi,
stuff.
yeah, made for
Yeah,
sci-fi. So that
so
was, I mean, that was a little bit like, wow, I was shocked when I saw it and it happens at the very beginning of the movie, and then yes, we do see Tiffany's titties, but that's just weird to me because I'm like, I don't know, like, I mean, because a lot of dolls or whatever, whatever, you could just see if they're anatomically correct, you can see their titties, whatever. But you're not like, but there it was weird because it was like, it almost felt fake, like obviously fake anyway because they're a doll, but like fake because like when she turns, she looks skinnier and her boobies look bigger in it. you know. I don't know. With Tiffany, it just looked weird to me. I don't know.
I didn't notice anything. I mean,
I
Chucky, we do get a little bit of a glimpse of his dick. So, when he's jerking off.
Which was so funny with John Waters like looking up and saying he was like, "Oh, there's a midget jerking off into a cup."
Then he sees Tiffany kind of behind the sofa. God bless the little people.
Yeah. God bless the little people is a great line. See, I bet that's a big reason why John Waters was like happy and ecstatic to
But see,
do
I
this.
don't, that's why I'm glad this was made when it was. Because I don't think that you would have had that stuff. You wouldn't have had Chucky jerking off into a cup. You wouldn't have Tiffany showing her boobs. And back then, when I saw the film, I didn't think trans. I didn't think any of this stuff. I thought Glen or Glenda with Ed Wood,
Yeah.
that a man is a cross dresser. But I didn't think anything, and, oh,
Or
look, it's Ed Wood. I didn't think any of this stuff. Today, I now think it. But
and
back then, no.
I was actually thinking Psycho when he's dressed up in the dress or whatever and he's like freaking out, right? Killing the
Oh,
guy
well,
or
there's
whatever.
the line from Psycho at the very beginning. He's got the fly, and he goes, "I'm not violent. I wouldn't even kill a fly," which
Oh
is the
yeah.
ending of Psycho.
Yeah, but
You
I
know.
didn't catch that one. But like, yeah, there's lots of references to all there was even a reference to like Rebel Without a Cause or whatever that James Dean movie that had the
Oh yeah, you're
line like
tearing me
me
apart,
apart.
which is also in the room.
Well, the funny thing is those both those movies when did I think maybe Seed actually came out in 2004. And what is it? The Room got finished and came out in 2003. However, The Room was not The Room until like 2008, 2009 when people started going to see it for like the midnight showings and everything and people started watching. Interestingly enough, though, 2006 or so is when somebody brought up The Room to me for the first time. I'd never heard of it before. And I was like, that just sounds horrible. And then it became a cult classic to me, and I absolutely love it. But I think if the Disaster Room didn't exist, I don't think I would love it as much.
Oh, I would have never watched it if it wasn't for the Disaster Room.
Right.
I mean, or Disaster Artist.
Disaster Artist.
Disaster
Disaster Room.
Room. They that's kind of combining both
That
movies.
is.
James Franco is right up, is, you know, um,
That's the sequel.
yeah, yeah, alternate universes or multi dimensions or something like that. So I think that a lot of these films are timed perfectly. It is, we did have a Chucky film for a long time, and then we got Curse, and everybody was worried about it because they didn't want it to be like Bride or Seed. And then, we heard, no, it's more of a horror movie. And then we heard that, Brad Dour's daughter is in this. Oh God, really? Nepotism. And then we loved her, because
Mhm.
and it's so I think all of these things worked out. I would really still like to find out why the show got canceled. I would find it interesting, as I'm sure they had an idea for season four. I would not want the show to turn into Cobra Kai, so maybe it's best that it did end after three seasons, beginning, middle, and end. Um, I think I
Yeah.
cursed Cobra Kai by saying that they need to have six seasons, and they did, and I did not like the last two. So
The
I could
last
say
two were
that
okay, but they weren't nearly as good as the first four seasons and everything. And
no, I think that they were tired and that they were just like, let's just get this done with. But
well,
they're
and I'm surprised because I've said this before. It normally would have only had 5 seasons or so because Netflix only gives 3 seasons to their original series, if you look at it. And except for like maybe Stranger Things and like a House of Cards and things like that, which I don't know how they get so many, but usually they don't because each year the cast accumulates more money and then they run out of money and they say we can't afford another season, so they don't do this. So but Cobra Kai got longer because the first 2 seasons were on YouTube or whatever, YouTube
oh yeah,
TV.
YouTube Red. Yeah.
YouTube Red. Oh my God, I forgot that because they don't call it that anymore. They call it YouTube TV. um I don't know why. Maybe Red just sounds bad or something. And then so then they weren't doing what they were hoping that they could do, so they gave, sold it to Netflix, and Netflix put out season three, four, five, six, right? And generally speaking, you'd probably only get three seasons from it, so they should only have gotten five seasons, but to get that extra season, and those two seasons were like, you know, they should have done two more seasons and that's it. But they had some more story to tell, I think, and whatnot. And
I just think they got bored. But so maybe I should be happy that Chucky only got three seasons because it's the first one being in the town, the second one being in the Catholic school, and then the third one being in the White House. I really think the only place to go is to space.
Are you
You
gonna
know.
are you gonna call find Don Mancini's phone number like Sheldon found that one guy's phone number and from Big Bang Theory, and then gonna call him up and say, are you the Don Mancini who made Chucky? And he's gonna go, yeah. And you're gonna go, well, I just want to know what was your season four gonna be like? And he was gonna tell you, and then like, well, thank God you got canceled. Bye.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah. Yeah, what was that for? Like
Um,
betas, deltas? It was some sci-fi show.
it wasn't Alphas, I don't think.
But
Some show, yeah.
I mean, you with Junkie, it has to be isolated. So it has to be, well, the town isn't isolated, but I guess that's more open space. But then, of course, if you're doing just a school or the White House,
Or space,
space, or
which
a
would be,
prison, Chucky
uh,
is in prison and he's roaming around this giant prison.
I
Yeah, I
wouldn't have
guess
liked that.
but yeah, I think space would have been the best way to do
I
it.
wouldn't have liked, I'm not a prison guy. I've talked about this on many things. I don't like prisons because once again it kind of reminds me of the one location areas, like mostly you're either in your room or you're in the commons, like the cafeteria. It's boring to me. It's like I wouldn't mind space if they went to different planets or something or whatever. But if it's just
You and OGP, I've told him many times, I'm like, you guys should just do your own show of everything. You have more of what you dislike than what you like. So it's like whenever I talk to Philip, I'm like, well, tell me something that you do like because you dislike so many things that it's a waste of my
you said that to
time.
me too.
Yes, I say to both of you. So because
That's
it's but then OGP he goes back on it because he's like I hate these man eater movies. I hate all this stuff. Shark movies are stupid. Jaws is lame. It's totally stupid. Why would you like any of these type of movies? And then he watched Jaws and loved it. So it's like
I mean, Jaws
then
is
he
I was my jaw dropped. My jaws dropped when you said that he didn't like Jaws. I was like, how could
Well,
somebody not like
it's
Jaws?
without seeing any of
Right.
them, So it's like, well, have you actually watched Jaws or Orca or Tentacles or any of these other cool movies? And no, haven't seen any of them. I just don't want to. And it's just like, okay, but then you saw Jaws and you loved it, so there you go, GP. But he has tried other series, but he loves Friday, but he doesn't like Nightmare. He finds it boring. He doesn't like Chucky because it's a doll. So I'm kind of whittling it down to the one or two things that he does like. So I
That's
thought it would be
fair.
funny to have him on Child's Play 3 just because he was in the military.
And then we
So
had
but
him for Bride, where I haven't watched that, where he apparently probably said trashed it.
oh, that's right. Yeah, he sent in his own video.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I haven't asked him about that or anything. So
you
I
haven't
think he
watched it.
said
It's on
just
there. It's on there.
I'll have to go and watch it. Yeah.
Um,
Completely forgot that he did that.
yeah. I wanted to make sure it was he sent me it in time, might as well put it out. Um, you know, I, I mean, Chucky is once again not my favorite, but it's not my least favorite. You know, Actually, I like Chucky as a character. I like collecting the Chucky stuff. I have a Chucky pillow. You know, I think Chucky's a great character. Um, the movies are okay to me. They're not. I don't know. I still will always probably be a Friday the 13th, like, fan. I didn't even like Michael Myers for a long time. And that's because I just found it kind of boring. He goes around and
Oh God. So I
just,
made the suggestion to Philip for Mondays that normally he will say, John, you watch this movie. And I'll say, okay, Philip, you watch this movie. And as long as we have them in the collection or they're on Tubi or something, we will, and then we'll talk about it, on Monday. And so I said, well, why don't we do the Halloween movies? Well, maybe we could do two every episode and we'll talk about it on the show. Still love Halloween. Halloween 2 is boring as fuck to me. All
it,
Jamie Lee Curtis does is crawl around a hospital.
right.
I still like it, but it's the
Oh,
same
oh, oh,
like
oh, wait. Is this coming from the same guy who kind of likes Halloween Kills?
no, I hate Halloween Kills. I like
Because that's
Halloween
all
Ends.
what I think wasn't,
Halloween Kills, I think, is one of the worst ones.
and that's the one where she's like in the hospital the whole
The
time.
entire friggin' movie almost.
Yeah, it's
And
like,
then we watched then like Halloween 3 and 4 and enjoyed both of those. And then
well,
we watched
Halloween 3
Halloween.
doesn't have anything to do with it.
No,
And,
but you still got to watch it
but
because
but but
it's
it's great. No, it's one of my
yeah.
favorites. And
And then we
Paul
watched
hates it. Paul hates it. And he
well, he
always gets
shouldn't.
on me. He gets on me about it because he's like, "Of course you're a millennial. You like this movie." Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I like this movie because it's not Michael Myers. And, well, you weren't there when it was, presented as a Michael Myers movie on the preview. So I went to see it, and it wasn't a Michael Myers movie,
It
blah,
wasn't
blah.
presented as that.
No,
We thought it was because it was called Halloween 3.
right.
So
But
we took it that maybe
he
warlocks
said
and all that
that
had something to
and
do with it.
Bud the Chud were both, you know, movies that kind of made you think that they were that, and then you got the rug, pulled out from under you when you went to go see it. And I'm both of those movies I love, and mainly because they're not the original movies. They're not trying to be. They're like, but the Chud is a zombie movie. It has nothing to do with Chuds, and everything. But I still really like it. Reminded me of that game Zombies Ate My Neighbors from like Super Nintendo. And stuff like that. Like I enjoyed it. I was like, oh man, this is a lot of fun. And then I don't know. It just that's just how Paul is and stuff. So I can never. I always I he knows I love Halloween 3, and he tries to get on me about that all the time. I'm like, dude, keep at it, man. You like,
It's a cult classic now. We all hated it when it first came out because it wasn't Michael, but then we got Halloween 4, which I think is pretty good. Halloween 5 is by far one of the worst things I've ever watched. We just we're going to be talking about that on
oh
Monday.
well, there's a certain
Halloween.
actress I'm not a friends with anymore that's in that movie, and yeah, so that's all I'll say.
Okay.
Not Danielle Harris. Let's just say that. I actually chatted with Danielle Harris recently, and she was very sweet again. Well, I've talked to her before, but she doesn't remember me at all or whatever, which I
No,
didn't assume she would.
it's
She's
horrible, and it's the director's fault. So,
yeah,
and
and
we're gonna talk about the theatrical cut of 6, and then the following week talk
the
about the
producer's
producer's
cut.
cut.
Oh, theatrical
That's
and
the
the
following
producer.
week. Yeah, we got to do the theatrical one first, and then do the producer's cut.
We did
So,
that for a horror blood and coffee, I think. It was either horror blood and coffee or horror film lovers, or I think it was horror blood and coffee because I had Samantha in there. And so we did, was it the producer's cut versus the theatrical cut? So we watched both and then reviewed them both at the same time and stuff.
well, with
Interesting.
Phillips in my memory, he wanted to do 3. He wanted to do 5 and then 6 theatrical and then 6 producers. And I'm like, I don't want to do it that way. The two sixes are going to combine.
All right.
So I think we should do 5 and then 6 theatrical cut, talk about that. Then the next week, do producer's cut of 6 and then H2O. And then we can also talk about the comparisons between the two
Cool.
just our memories are too crappy. But he won't do any of the Chucky stuff to kind of swing back that way, and so that's kind of dead in the water. So, but we're doing it, and that's fine.
Yeah, for
So
you, that's fine. I mean, we will have to discuss for next year what we're gonna like what franchise are we gonna go and dive into next, after
Yeah, we'll
Child's
see.
Play. But
Well, and I do want to show this just in case we take off soon. That I did pick this up at Ross.
little peach thingies.
Yeah, I have not opened it. I don't plan on it.
Oh,
And
you're
they
not gonna open it, you're just gonna keep it.
no, I'm just going to keep it. And I don't know what Chucky has to do with peach rings, frozen dried candy. I have no idea why they would put him on this.
Why
So, but
not?
I'm keeping it. So,
He's on
we'll,
Fanta. He's on
I know some of
energy
these things
drink.
just don't make any sense.
Well, I
So
mean, it's just getting his face out there some more. I think it helps with keeping the stuff alive. Like if there's still interest because people are buying peach ring, Chucky things, because Chucky's on the box.
I bought
Yeah.
it.
If there's that interest, then people are going to be really excited. I mean, I got this from Timu.
It looks good.
Yeah, it says better together.
And they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
I I love having honestly I wish Glenn was in here too. Um
well, that's a whole different shirt.
that's a whole different shirt, but I like Glenn. Glenn was, me being a Ed Wood fan. By the way, I found information out that I did not know. Glenn or Glinda is not in the public domain. Many of those movies that William Williams, whatever.
No, it's Wade Williams.
No, even before Wade Williams, what was the first guy who owned it?
Well, that's what's on the video book.
I
There,
know.
there's two camps for Ed Wood, and Conrad Brooks talked to me about it. There and like Paul Marco is on one camp and he's on the other camp. There's so everybody thinks they own all the Ed Wood movies, but
Well, they're all dead, so
nobody
unless their
really knows
family
at
would own
all.
it,
So
but
yeah,
uh no, I don't know, but anyway, uh I looked it up and apparently Glen or Glenda is not in the public domain, so you cannot remake that movie anytime soon. Like I thought you could. I thought it had to be public domain, but it was in 81 or 82 it got renewed, the copyright. So it won't be for another 95 years from then. So like a long time from now, it will not be up for something. I don't know, maybe it was not 90. I think it was something like maybe something, I don't know. It was 50 or something, but a lot of years from then that it can't be that it's renewed for, so copyright. And I don't know who so that would be interesting if somebody tries to remake it on their own, like independently, because I don't know who would come after, them for the
well, also
copyright.
Rhino owned them for a while because they brought out the box sets and everything. So it was Rhino.
Yeah, Rhino owns it. Yeah, Wade Williams had his box set for it, so maybe he made a deal with Rhino. I don't know, you know. But I guess that's the person. But anyway, the reason I was saying that is because like there was a time where I thought, ooh, it'd be fun to remake it, especially now since a lot of trans talk is, happening and everything like that. However, I just don't think it needs to be remade because the you know the problem with it is the fact that like it's already done, you know like what else can you add to what
Well,
he's
and he's
done?
not trans. He's just a cross-dresser.
Yeah, he's just a cross-dresser, and it never said trans in the movie, I guess, right? In Glenn or Glenda they never
No, they
they do mention that transsexuals exist and stuff, but the clinical thing was he was a
oh yeah, because
cross-dresser.
Bill Murray was looking at all these people. Yeah, and no, Ed was on the phone. Well, in the movie,
In
Ed
the
Wood.
movie Ed
Yeah,
Wood
he's
with
on the
Johnny
phone. I
Depp.
need transsexuals. Find me transsexuals.
Yep. But it was like there if you watch I don't know if how long ago you watched the movie for Glenn or Glenda. Um or Glenn Anglin is it Glenn Anglin? Glenn or Glenda, I
I think
think.
it's or.
Yeah. So Glenn or Glenda, when you watch the movie, there is there is just clinical talk about it because it's basically a documentary without being a documentary. Like it tries to be a little bit more than that, but it's pretty much a narrator talking about this is Glenn. He likes to dress up in women's clothing. He's a cross dresser. Watch him dress up, that kind of thing, right? Like a educational video. And so I think today it wouldn't be fun to remake it because you'd pretty much do the same thing. You just make it a documentary, and how many of those do we have out now? There's too many to
I
count that are
I would
probably
agree.
about that, about cross-dressing or about, and plus cross-dressing isn't as uncommon. Like today, it's like anybody
Drag queens
can
and
drag
all that.
queens and
Yeah.
all that stuff are just like normal.
Well, back then all that stuff was taboo.
I know.
So
So that's why they did the movie. He wanted to showcase a world that nobody's ever seen before. Now we've seen it so many times that if they remade this movie, it just wouldn't, like I don't know. Like you couldn't make it. You couldn't remake it. And so anyway, when I saw Glenn and Glinda's name again, it started making me think about that again. And I was like, oh man, it just wouldn't be the same today anyway if you tried to do it. And I'm glad he called him Glenn or Glinda or Glenn and Glinda because I just thought that was cute. I had an idea for a movie where I was gonna dress up like Glenn and call myself Glenn and Glinda and be a vampire hunter. You know, that when he vampire hunted, he was Glinda. When he was out in the regular world, he was Glenn. And this was before I'd even seen Seed of Chucky, obviously, or even knew that that was a subplot or whatever, that there was a doll that did both. But I never ended up doing that. I never dressed up, and I don't know if I get in trouble now for doing that because you know, having Glenn or Glinda, his name. Anyway,
yeah.
sorry, are you? You're just like, what are you talking about? All right, let's move on.
Well, I had mentioned to you that I do have a connection to Seed of Chucky.
Yes, she did.
So there's actually two songs, but the ending song credits one way
Hmm.
or another.
Yeah,
So that's done by a band called Full Blown Rose. I used to be friends with the guitarist,
nice.
and I was going to do a documentary on the band because the band was manufactured. It wasn't like like an organic thing. It was put together by like a managing company. And the guitarist of that, I said, well, why don't we make a documentary on you guys and promote the music and everything. So he sent me a bunch of like CDs and photos and all this stuff in the mail. I was working at Men's Warehouse at the time, I think, doing the tuxedos, and then I was going to Los Angeles City College for film. And so I figured, well, I would do that for one of my projects, would do this documentary on them. But of course, the whole band fell apart. One guy became he was like a reborn Christian, and just everything fell apart with this band. But I do believe that there are two songs in there. One is earlier on, and then one is the remake of or the cover of One Way or Another. And this was going to be a thing. We were going to do a documentary on this.
Nice.
So, but I lost touch, over the years with the guitarist and all that type of stuff. But it was cool because he told me all about this. Oh yeah, we got a song in the movie and it's during the end credits and it's the cover of Blondie. And so when I went to go see the film in the theater, I was like, oh, I know that guy. I know that
And then
guy.
everybody said, shh.
Shut up. Just shut up. That's what they said. They were very rude about it.
I
So
know. Well, I mean, somebody screaming on the
I
top of their
stood up and
lungs,
pointed at the screen and went, I know that guy. I know that guy.
and they're
So,
like, shut up. We
yeah.
don't care.
I think I still have, even though I mailed him back a whole bunch of stuff because it was his. And if we weren't going to do the documentary, it wasn't fair for me to keep it. But I think I have stuff like some stickers and some CDs that he just gave, like Burns, that he gave me.
Did
And,
you
and
tell me
I,
this on Bride of Chucky or something too?
it
Like
might have
this
been that I
was
had a connection to it. I think I still have their music downloaded. I have, because
because
he gave
like
me.
I remember you telling me the story. I just don't remember if it was that or if it was on one of the things
I
like a
might have just
fall
told
video.
it to you,
Oh, maybe.
or something. But it's yeah, that's my little
Nice.
connection. So, do you want to,
I have no connection to this movie
except your
whatsoever.
shirt?
Except, well, I mean, and that's not really a connection because there's no little man over there. My I mean, I'm trying to think. Do I have any connections? Is there anybody that's, or did anything with this movie? I mean, other than my connection with Madeline and her singing this movie. I mean, we only chose Bride of Chucky because other than maybe was it part three, maybe part two, but like it was one of the only ones in the 90s, you know. So we did a 90s horror. I was like, well, I haven't seen Bride of Chucky and I kind of wanted to, right? And stuff. So we watched that and then we were planning, I mean, I was planning to do for horror film lovers do this one at some point, but then you came up with the idea to do all the Chucky movies. So I said, I'll just not do that unless like maybe later down the road when we're running out of ideas for horror film lovers to do, you know.
Well, for me, they're easy to watch. I mean, I watched Seed earlier today, so I've now seen it probably like 4 times.
They're an hour and a half, man. I mean, that just goes by like that.
Yeah, that was very nice. Yeah. So
Yeah.
very easy. Do you
Well,
want to
yeah,
know box office? Because we're
sure,
probably
of
going to be
course.
wrapping up soon. Just try to get all this stuff out of the
We're
way.
gonna be red banding soon. We're gonna be rapping.
Wrapping soon. Wrapping. So when we look at like Bride of Chucky, and that came out in 98. So it had a budget of 25 million. Its box office was 50.7. Um, so you would think, okay, that was a hit. Let's make a second one or make a follow-up to it. It wasn't until 2004 that Seed of Chucky came out. And this is because I'm looking at these, it's almost like they kind of made the same amount of money in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So Seed's budget is 12 million and it made 24.8. So each one did make double.
Nice.
Yeah, but I guess maybe they just, since Bride was 50 at the box office, 50 million, and this was 24 million, it's only half. They probably said, we're gonna wait. We're not gonna do that. But if you look at the numbers, I mean, budget 25, it made 50. Budget 12, it made 24. So,
Mm,
it was definitely a lot less than the budget on the other ones, like half the budget. So I don't know. So in a way, I think it made money.
sure.
Maybe not as much as they thought that it would. Because I guess if you really like Bride and it made dough, you would think those people then would come back for Seed. But maybe they didn't.
I don't know. But
So
yeah, I mean, it made something. It made like what? Well, it made double its money, or
both of
whatever.
them did just at different levels, to what the budget is.
Right. So I mean, whatever. I guess that just went to go show like maybe they just weren't the people weren't wanting Chucky at that time. I think it was a good idea that they took some time away before they made Curse, you know, to kind of, I don't know. What does Don Mancini do other than this? Like, does he just make his money on this and then just sits on it? Like, does he have a regular job? Like, is he like an accountant somewhere? And then, oh no, no, I gotta go home and write the next Chucky movie. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, because I guarantee you, I mean, he's probably making a pretty good amount of money, right? Like being the creator of it and writing all the scripts.
Um,
But
I mean, I would think that maybe he's like a script doctor or something, because looking at his filmography, it really is
just Chucky.
oh, well, Cellar Dweller from Charles Band. He was
That was
he,
like, was that before Chucky? I think it was before Chucky.
yeah, that's before Child's Play, but he was just the writer on that. But yeah, Child's Play 2, 3, Bride, Seed, Curse, Colt, that's 2017. And then He did a Tales from the Crypt. He did a Hannibal episode, Channel Zero, and then just Chucky from 2001 to 2024. Yeah, it's really that's it. It's mostly Chucky and then those odd projects. Nothing really else.
Oh, yeah, what can you do? You
I
know?
mean, maybe because he doesn't really do anything else, maybe that makes better product. Maybe that make, because he could just focus on making the best film or TV show that he can. He's not working on 20 different things.
Yeah, I'm not sure, you know. But I mean I love him writing all these movies and I'm happy that I got to meet him. Sadly, I hadn't really watched many of the Chucky movies when I got to meet him, but I did appreciate that Chucky is like so mainstream, you know, like perfect for mainstream Mondays. Because he's in the zeitgeist. I mean, my 2-year old nephew knows Chucky. You know, everybody. I had a oh crap. Sorry about
Don't
that.
hurt yourself.
I don't know, but I had a shirt, like another hoodie that said "Friends" on it, and had all the psychos on there. So it had like,
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
yeah, and I had that, and one of them, so I point to them and I say, "This is Freddy Krueger. Can you say Freddy Krueger?" And he goes, "Freddy Krueger." And I'm like, all right, can you say Jason Voorhees? Jason Voorhees, right? Michael Myers, Michael Myers, right? And we did all of the characters. Jigsaw was on it, Ghostface. Oh, he loved saying Ghostface. Um, which weirdest when I never thought about it until like recently of like the only person who's ever called him Ghostface was I think it wasn't it somebody called him Ghostface in the first movie.
Oh,
Oh, it's a
it's
Rose
Tatum.
McGowan. Yeah, Rose McGowan says,
The,
"Oh,
it
don't
never
kill
had
me, Mr.
Ghostface.
Ghostface."
Yeah, it was never. That's not who he was.
It
It
does
wasn't
not,
until she said Ghostface that
but
it stuck.
it should have stuck. It shouldn't have stuck because she says it to him when she's all by herself, and then she gets killed. So they never mentioned the Ghostface name. Yet people call him Ghostface all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know if they ever do in the movie though, you know, and everything. But
I mean, I
I
think
mean,
some of these people like Leatherface. I don't think in the first movie he's called Leatherface. He's like, look at what your brother did, and
no.
maybe they do call him Leatherface. Like when he's
I don't
no, I know
remember
in
that.
the second film he's called Leatherface, but I'm not sure in the first movie if like the fans gave him the name Leatherface because of the mask.
Have you ever seen Idle Hands?
Oh yeah, I like Idle Hands. That I didn't see it. I watched it later on. I think it was probably like VHS or something. But my friend came back from the theater because he saw it, and he just goes, "There is a chick in this who's dressed up like an angel. She is a literal angel. My God, she is gorgeous."
And then she was
And
the Dark Angel.
so, yeah, oh yeah,
There
yeah,
you go. So she did
yeah,
become an angel.
yeah.
What is it? What I was thinking is the scene with Seth Green holding up I forgot what it was, but he had like the stuff on his face, like the bacon on his face. Like, look at me, I'm Leatherface.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
He like runs, but it like the thing gets like, pulled out of the socket. It was one of the funniest. If I could have that on an endless loop, it would still make me laugh every single time he said it. I don't know. There's some people like Seth Green that can just they're just enunciations and they're the way they say things just crack me up so much.
Hey, he's a funny
Um,
guy. I like that he's a nerd.
he's a nerd and I liked like I always love it when actors play like dicks of characters of themselves. So when he was like on Entourage, he was a dick. When Johnny,
Oh yeah, yeah. He was the was it Johnny's nemesis?
yeah, Johnny's nemesis, and he his Johnny sucker punched him twice. No, once, and then the kid not Nick Cannon. What's the other guy? They made a joke about Nick Cannon, but there's another there's a black guy that what's his name? That That Eric, no, Eric's nemesis, not Johnny's. No, not Johnny's. Eric's nemesis because
It
he,
is Eric's nemesis because he wanted to go out with Eric's girlfriend.
yeah,
That was the
Sloan.
big thing. Yeah, Sloane, who was gorgeous. And
No,
yeah,
man,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
shrieky. So I liked him in that, and I liked Johnny Galecki was an asshole on Entourage too, and that.
Well, that's yeah, like you to go back to John Waters, if you remember him in Hairspray,
Hmm.
remember that the white girls were dating the black guys? And of
Hmm.
course, at that time period in the 50s, that was like you can't do that. It was kind
Hmm.
of like to get back at your parents type of thing. But he's with the one girl who was dating the black guy, and he has the shocker. So he's shocking her, and he would I don't he wasn't using the N word, but he was saying the other N word. I don't want to really get out there with it, but it's so he would shock her and go like N word, and then she'd be like ah, and he'd be like, and so every time that she would get shocked, she would think of that word. So John Waters has nothing against black people. He has nothing like that. He's playing this character that's shocking a young girl, white
Yeah,
girl, into not wanting to date a black guy. So yeah, it's always fun to play stuff that you're not,
right.
So
Absolutely. And like, exaggerated versions of yourself, or whatever. Because the actors like to do that. Like Pauly Shore. Well, Pauly Shore's probably most like that, like where he like messes around. Because he was Johnny's nemesis, on the show. So that was who Johnny's nemesis was. Yeah, Pauly Shore's dead, baby.
yeah.
No, not in real life. Not now. Not really. He wasn't even in that movie. But I remember I got I got something signed by him that was uh that was from that, movie and everything. It was a picture of Pauly Shore, because I was a huge I mean, I still am a huge Pauly Shore fan. If I saw him out in the wild, I'd come up and give him a big hug if he let me. I'd consent and ask for consent and say, "Are you okay with me hugging you?" And he'd be like, I guess, bro. And just give him a hug. Because he is a dude who I I admire the people who have had sort of the worst careers like that. I admire him. I admire Jamie Kennedy, who gets a lot of crap, Yep. Yeah, you just got all the movies of all the guys I'm talking about. But I like those guys. I think that a lot of them are that they are brave actors because they know a lot of these movies are going to get them crap. Who's the other one I was thinking of? I mean, the only one I can think of that I could not get into was Carrot Top. I just couldn't get into him. Sorry. Do you have a movie of his?
No, no, I probably should own chairman of the board.
Oh God,
But he's very successful out here in Vegas. He's had a long running show for like decades. So he's doing very well out here. He may not be
yeah.
making movies, but his show is very successful out
He
here.
might
So
not have a film career anymore, but he's
well,
doing
I
his
have
stuff.
this here, the heckler here, because it's going to be, if I get off my lazy butt and do it, is going to be my next reviews after midnight.
Nice.
So it's kind of like a follow-up to,
Pauly
and
Shore's
and
dead.
and it's funny, it's the Pauly Shore one. Who is Pauly Shore's nemesis? Seth Green.
Nice. Seth Green's
Everything that,
everybody's
yeah,
nemesis.
everything that Pauly Shore loses out on in the movie, Seth Green gets.
And that's sort of a thing, man. I think like a lot of those actors, a lot of them were going out for the same roles. Even Entourage shows that like David Faustino would go up for the same role as Johnny, and stuff. And I just feel like that was really the thing.
Well, Seed of Chucky, everything with Julia Roberts and the Red Man even says you're pregnant and I need a hot chick to do this,
Wouldn't be
and
Julia
that's
Roberts,
well, he
in
says
my
it's
opinion.
and she goes, well, who's replacing me? And he goes, Julia Roberts. That's like the running joke through the whole thing is that
No.
Julia Roberts keeps getting her roles.
Yep. And she even said she thinks that she slept with the director, and that what gives her the idea to sleep with the director, and everything. Which is interesting because, the Me Too movement, you hear about the casting couch, but you don't usually hear about women, kind of throwing themselves at men, and whatnot. Um,
Well, there's a fair amount of women who didn't come forward with Harvey Weinstein because they got Academy Awards. So it's like,
oh,
you
I
know,
mean, or I mean, I guess they're afraid because, like, a lot of people were afraid to go up against Harvey because they were afraid it might end their careers, not that they because they came forward, and it looks, when somebody comes forward on that kind of stuff, it's brave for the women. But unfortunately, a lot of directors will not hire you because
well, you get
of,
blacklisted if you say something. So
yeah.
it's, but also if you do something like that and then you end up winning the Academy Award for Best Actress for Shakespeare in Love, you probably don't say anything because, you got the Academy Award,
Well,
so.
so one thing real quick I want to say before we probably wrap this up. Um, I want to say that Kevin Smith had something where he was talking about how uh Harvey Weinstein had called him up to discuss Dogma to him, right? I think we still have Dogma in there, we're thinking blah 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 blah. And he found out that there was no interest in Dogma, you know. He was just, at that time, nobody was answering any of Harvey's calls because of what happened and everything. And Kevin Smith picked up to Harvey, right? And so he knew he wasn't the person that, like, outed him and said stuff, because the person who outed him would have been, would not have picked up. So, but to make things happier now, Dogma is going to be out in December from Umbrella Entertainment. I think I sent you a thing about that. I don't know. I know.
Yeah, you said it was coming out,
Yeah, it was
so
coming out.
it's,
It's,
yeah.
it's coming out in December. It's going to be like $60. But that's because I guess it's coming from Australia, and stuff. I don't know. But I would buy it. I just don't know. I might wait. I know it's only I don't like this physical media now. They make only like 500 copies or 1,000 copies. You know what I mean? They have a numbered copy so that, and I'm just like, don't do that. Like, make as many copies as possible. Like, are you,
No, because a lot of people aren't buying it anymore, aren't buying physical. So they don't, I mean, it's just going to sit in a warehouse.
I get it, but I also am afraid, like, I have the fear of missing out, man, and I don't want to miss out on. I guess I gotta save, $60 to get the movie, you know.
Well, who knows? I mean, when it comes out, then maybe the original version will go down in price. So I guess it just matters if you just want the movie itself or if you also want all the special features and things, because there's probably new stuff going on there.
Oh, there's some new stuff on there, which is great, which is stuff I want too, so I would like it. I do have the DVD, which has the some of the extras that they have that aren't going to be on that. That's the crazy thing, is you see a lot of stuff that, a lot of stuff that were on the original stuff that I guess can't get transferred over to the new one.
Well, it's copyright stuff. That's what Cliff told me. Is if you could bring out like they did 10 different versions of the Evil Dead, and certain things are not going to be on other discs because
Right.
all they fall into, for some reason, a copyright. So they just have to think of something else, and then they write new on there because
Yeah.
they couldn't put the other thing on there.
Yeah, they wrote a bunch of new. They have a bunch of new, this new, 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 and I like that. The new interview with Kevin Smith, the new interview with, the camera guy or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, and that's neat to me because that means that people, and Dogma's not my favorite Kevin Smith movie, but a lot of people love that movie. You know,
I think
um,
it's one of his best, but
yeah, see, some people love that movie, especially atheists. They love that movie, which is so funny because it's not. It's I don't know. It's supposed to be semi-Christian, but it's not, like, I don't know. It's kind of goes against Christianity teachings, I guess, you know. But I
Well,
don't know.
Smith is a Catholic, so
Yeah. For a second, I thought you said Will Smith, but you said Will Smith.
Will Smith is a Catholic.
He probably is.
God, let's
Yeah.
not get into that. That's a whole other video.
And he'd smack you if you said that, though.
Oh, I'd punch him back.
You
He
wouldn't
just happened
stand
to.
like Chris Rocca.
No, I don't blame Chris Rock for not doing anything because he was in shock.
Well,
I have heard people go, I'd punch him right back. It's just like, no, you probably wouldn't. You're in friggin' shock.
you didn't expect that to happen, you
No, you
know.
don't know why he's coming up there. He may just be up there to shake your hand or to laugh or, no, he wasn't, he had no idea, which is why he said, I just got the shit smacked out of me by Will Smith. Nobody was expecting that. Will Smith is such a cuck. That's a whole other video to talk about. I can't stand Will Smith now.
Are we gonna one day do all the Will Smith movies somewhere?
Oh, fuck, I hope not. There's some bad ones in there. Guy's a good actor. I give him that, but
Yeah. Ali, baby. Like that's one of his best roles.
which
But
one?
Ali, Muhammad Ali, when he played,
Oh, Ollie. Yeah, he does a good job. He does.
yeah.
It was weird. I saw an interview with him where he goes, I'm this is when Ali came in. He goes, oh yeah, I'm channeling Muhammad Ali. And it's like, Muhammad Ali's not dead. He's still alive. Why you wouldn't be channeling somebody who's alive,
That'd be weird.
dummy. You challenge people, you channel them when they're dead.
Right.
So it's like,
Um,
dummy.
the funniest thing is like, was it Will Smith was in Jersey Girl with, that Kevin Smith did. And my friend, one of my friends had said that he laughed so hard in Jersey Girl, like he loved the scene where Ben Affleck just goes off on, Will Smith saying he's an untalented actor, that he's that the only thing he's, whatever is the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, right? And stuff like that. And I was just like thinking, I mean, I don't know. I always liked him. I mean, I liked him on Fresh Prince, but I also liked him in many of his movies.
Oh, Jada destroyed him. She's a harpy. She's Medusa. She destroyed him. She made him less of a man because now it's hard for me now to watch. Like if they brought out another Bad Boys movie, I don't think anybody would take him seriously in that because of all the red table stuff and all that of just what a cuck he is. He's not a man. She's the alpha, he's the beta.
Wasn't there? There wasn't one, wasn't there? There. What was the last one of the Bad Boys? Was that four?
There's four, yeah. It's
And that
bad because three is for life. And everybody said, no, that should have been the fourth movie. So then the fourth movie is Ride or Die. So
I'm
it's
trying to
Bad
think.
Boys for Red Boy, Bad Boys for Life, and they could have used the number four, and then
Okay,
for
I
and
have
then
not seen Ride or Die. I've only seen Bad
I
Boys for
like them
Life.
all, but it's just it's more difficult now, with Will Smith because we brought up that stupid girls song and he's just no, dude, no. It's just I can't, no, no.
Well,
And then he's gonna do I Am Legend 2, which I'm not even I own the first one, but I'm not gonna watch the second one.
oh, you're a completist.
I don't know. They're
Mm,
they're doing something weird with that. They're going off of the deleted ending. Because in the movie he dies, but
right.
in the deleted one he doesn't.
Yeah, that's stupid.
So I don't know if they're going to re-release the first one with that ending now, and then the theatrical one will have that ending will be as a bonus feature. Maybe I don't know, but I
Yep.
don't know. It's yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We are way off target. Way off. I
I
can't even
mean
say
that's.
stay
I
on
mean,
target because
at
the
least,
Death Star is like over here, and we're like over here.
yeah. Well, at least. We stayed on it up till the end, pretty much, as the ending that we're just like going off the rails. All right, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this weird talk at the end. But if you've even watched all the way to this part, God bless
We
you.
thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you are a treasure and we love you. But if you have, please comment and let us know that you actually listened to the end, because but don't if you don't just skip to the end, then fuck you, you know.
Ah,
Screw you for doing that. Don't skip to the end. That's wrong, you know. So yeah, there you go. So if you watched all the way to the end, we love you. If you skip to the end, to hell with you, you know. That's just wrong.
wow, those are some words from you.
I
Gee,
know, man.
wow.
I don't like it, man. It's cheating, you know. You want to hear?
On some things I do go straight to the end, especially if it's like a tier list or
Oh, well,
something.
yeah, yeah. When we do our ranking, you can do that. Then I'll say we're okay. We're okay with that because I would admit that sometimes I do that too. I'll check out the ending of something because I don't want to hear the people talk and talk and talk, just like we do. But I don't want to hear them talk and talk and talk about the stuff sometimes. I just want to hear what their rankings are, you know. I just want to see what it is. But I don't want it like just written down, like some people do or whatever. So, anywho, hope you guys enjoyed this. We'll be back next in a couple weeks, I guess. I don't know. Hopefully, a couple weeks. We haven't
Whenever you
recorded.
send me a text, hey, you want to do Colt?
Yeah, then we'll do Colt, and then we're gonna have
Oh,
to
I'm sorry,
do
the curse. You want to do curse, I meant.
Curse, and then we're gonna have to do Colt this month anyway because I'm gonna have to because I'm leaving for LA and I'm not gonna probably be able to do it while I'm in LA. So we'll have to do three this month, but two, we'll they'll be separated out. It's okay. So each month we'll get two, I think. It's the plan still, and that's how we've been doing it. I don't know how like we survived this, but we have. So I appreciate this. We'll be back with a brand new episode talking about Curse of Chucky.
Curse.
Yep. Until then, everybody have a good one. Bye.
Bye.